Hey neighbor, thanks for dropping by to see me review the third record, Blue Weekend, by one of my absolute favorite bands of the past decade by a wide margin, Wolf Alice. My journey with them began back in 2015, a few months before their stunning debut, My Love Is Cool, landed. To me, it's still a flawless, life-defining record that taught me a lot about myself, yet somehow they managed to keep that momentum going for their really good sophomore set. I'm planning to make a top 10 countdown for Wolf Alice now that they have 3 albums out in the world, so if you'd like to see that, then drop a comment to let me know, and make sure to hit the like button on this review. It helps the video get pushed out to more people. Visions of a Life was a roller coaster of quiet, loud mechanics, dusting off the shoegaze appeal for some of the album's more haunting cuts, but never fully shying away from aggression, as the Riot Girl influence soaked through big time on the punky lead single Yuck Fu. Album 2 was a worthy predecessor, but no doubt a step down from full perfection, so after nearly 4 years between drops, I was incredibly excited for whatever their next step forward would be. What reason did I ever have to doubt them? They don't have a bad song, period, and trust me, Mr. Music Critic over here rarely gets to say that and actually truly mean it, but I do! I don't think I can contain myself that much longer. There's just so much to get into with this emotive exploration of a person in their late 20s, realizing what they do and don't want out of life. It's a brilliant roadmap without an obvious end in sight, other than the beach maybe, but I fucking love this record, and to no one's surprise, I think Wolf Alice have officially completed the 3-album run that so many young bands crave, but rarely actually pull off. What rock band in the 2020s is doing it like they do? Hype the size of a skyscraper was built after The Last Man on Earth dropped as the lead single, and I'm still shocked at just how thoughtful, organic, beautiful, and just not mainstream it is after the long 2-minute slow burn to start, and then this epic climax that sends Ellie Roselle soaring over a serotonin rush of 70s tinged guitar and drum patterns. I can see Blue Weekend being the music that soundtracks many a 20-something's life as they come of age, realize the importance of true friends in adulthood, drink until they wish they were back home, and fall in and out of love while learning to survive on their own. It's a laugh or a cry or maybe even a good cry while smiling, because you know what happened was a lesson learned even if it really hurts. Paying respects to various styles of 90s music along with their own little spice has long been Wolf Alice's calling card, but the beauty of this new album is just how seamlessly they open portals to connect both the heavier stylings of their debut to the more thoughtful musings of their current state of mind. Musically, Blue Weekend balances out eccentric guitars, prodding groovable bass that really catches your ear, and a range of drum beats that really show off Joel Amy as a versatile weapon. Also, a light sense of programming that never goes overboard can be heard on some of the more pop-friendly tracks, with How Can I Make It Okay leaping out as a can't-miss highlight that relies on synths, buzzing guitars, and trippy vocal effects that call to mind the best synth pop of the 80s. Can we just appreciate that they've rotated 3 fantastic producers over 3 albums, and everyone they brought on has just completely killed it? This time it was Marcus Drabs, who proved to be a great addition, like the 5th puzzle piece of the band magically appearing. I've heard that he's a very hands-on, shape up your sound and push and challenge you type of guy, so I'm happy that they got someone that was willing to challenge their ideas, because the best ones always do. I bring up the production because this record is such a treat to hear. It ranges from cozy bliss to crushing guitar, often just retreating to a canyon somewhere between both of those ideas only to stare up at the sky. One of the best examples of their expansive sound is possibly also my favorite overall, Lipstick on the Glass. To see Ellie giving such a chilling vocal performance while bearing her soul when it comes to a cheating partner, my god, this song just straight up sawed my heart in 2. Jeff's gentle but eclectic guitar gives me the feeling of a great band like Echo and the Bunnymen, only glazed over with a doe-eyed innocence that's just seen blood in the water. Smile was vicious in its pursuit of calamity, a scene of pure chaos backed by a space-bound synth that buzzes like a drone in a sea of throttling guitar dominance. This, alongside the manic headbanging screams of Play the Greatest Hits, which managed to sound like the bratty but lovable sister to Yuck Fu, is the loudest, most traditional Wolf Alice rock cut you're gonna find here. Now that I've mentioned the heavy hitters, we can drift over to the soft sides, the moments that zoom in on a singular mood and corner it like a dark alley confrontation. Wolf Alice have always had a bit of that whiplash tendency in their bones, with both of the other albums jumping from heavy to soft frequently, but this album is generally much more vibable. Not to say tame overall, but it takes time to build out the worlds around them, like a dreamscape out of Inception or something. No hard feelings Feelings low-key sounds more like an interlude than a full song, but the tender embrace it sells you on is well worth the ride. Ellie gives up the grudge with an ex-flame and paves the way for them to be friends in the future, something that's definitely easier said than done, but you can really feel the weight lifting from her shoulders, and I think the music video is a perfect companion to really help us visualize what she's releasing from the lock and key at her heart. I think even the only song I'm not too keen on is still worth hearing, although swapping it out for maybe a rockier cut might have made for a better flowing album. Safe From Heartbreak laments the idea of dating again to spare the pain in a pretty minimal tune that feels underwritten and simplistic. You see, much of Blue Weekend takes time to build and structure, so it's definitely not out of the question to say that this one could have had more payoff by the end. Actually, a few songs later, Feeling Myself pops up, which didn't show its true colors immediately, but the more you sit with it, the more they reward you with layered gold, which is kind of the opposite of Heartbreak. Rumbling guitar kicks in about a minute in to really set the pendulum in motion. A swift discussion about sexual norms expected of young women ushers in the song, but the vibe fully hits when the band joins Ellie's magic carpet ride of exploration. And that outro on the song? Oh, sweet lord, that is one tasty outro that just borders on post-rock. Brilliance appears in its most sparkly, diamond-dyed form on what is possibly one of Wolf Alice's best songs ever, Delicious Things. It's definitely a gem, and the way that Ellie guides us through multiple stages of life, all under the context of being away from home in a new country, is remarkable. Ellie sports a brave face, one that is probably willing to try anything once, but as the track goes on, we start to realize that this life in LA and feeling like Marilyn Monroe and the Hollywood Hills, it doesn't last forever. The pills, the drinking, everything catches up. The snippy bass and the breathy vocals pinpoint her fears, but the glamorous hook masks the insecurity before finally breaking down to admit that she's homesick and wants to call her mom. Finally, we should talk about The Beach Parts 1 and 2 that open and close Blue Weekend with serenity and reflection. At first, I thought they needed some extra oomph, something more explosive, like a little bit of extra fuel to the fire to open the album with a bang, but the more you focus on those lyrics, the more everything feels like it's woven right where it's supposed to be in the web. Part 1 ends with a massive point of tension. The kicking drums match the sizzling guitar to finally hit their stride, but the life lessons give you the feeling of an overwhelmed soul, unsure of how to fix or make something right from the distant past. Ellie touches on these themes several times throughout the record, but the ending line, "I close my eyes and imagine I'm not there," hits like a work of art. It's so good. The Beach 2 circles back to a similar feeling that kind of sounds like the musical equivalent of your friend filming you on a Super 8 camera. Basically, nostalgia reigns supreme, and to quote a line from their very own song Planet Hunter, "It's a moment of happiness under the influence that she's now perfectly recreated." Blue Weekend proves that fluke is not a word that belongs anywhere near Wolf Alice. Not a single bad song, a 3-album run of untouchable magic, and more sparks flying now than ever before. I am so impressed. Wow! Don't let this album or this band slip away. They're one of the best things to happen to the alternative music scene in decades, and although I do have a few minor nitpicks when it comes to the pacing, I'm still giving this album a strong 4.5 out of 5. Thoughts on Blue Weekend? Let me know in the comments if you think Wolf Alice squared it up perfectly or somehow missed the mark. Don't forget to smash that like button and get excited because I'm doing a top 10 on this band later in the year. For now, you can watch me review their last album here, or tap here for another recent review. All of my socials, including my Patreon, are linked in the description down below, and I'll be back soon for more on ARTV.